Welcome back. Let's get more now on our main story this evening, the contaminated blood scandal and the start of an inquiry into one of the most damaging episodes in the history of the NHS. Thousands of patients were infected with HIV and hepatitis C during the 1970s and 80s. The inquiry chairman has described many of the witness statements he's seen as harrowing and incredibly moving. Well, I'm joined now by Tony Farrugia, whose father Barry died in 1986 after being infected with hepatitis and HIV. Tony also lost two uncles who were given contaminated blood. Tony, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. How significant is this inquiry for you and the opportunity to tell your story?
It's very significant. We've been overwhelmed today. Certainly, of the witnesses today, they're people that we were unaware of. So new people coming forward and speaking out about what happened to them, the horrors of what they've been through. It's been really humbling, and we're just so pleased it's finally started. Yeah,
and I guess long overdue as well, Tony. I mean, just tell us what happened to your father, first of all.
My father was a mild haemophiliac when he was born in 1949. He was diagnosed at a few months old as mild haemophilia, and subsequently didn't receive much treatment up until he was about 27, when he was just switched from a relatively safe product of cryoprecipitate to an American commercial product that was pulled, and the risks were much greater. So in 1977, he was infected with hepatitis B. We also believed then that may have been on the first products being issued from America, that he was also given hepatitis C. We also believe from the medical notes that he was infected with HIV around the latter part of 1981. He wasn't told immediately. His records show that they were sort of aware of HIV in 83, but he wasn't told till 85. And about 12 months later, he was sectioned under the Mental Health Act. His family, well, his children certainly never saw him again. And I was removed from the family home and placed in care before my father's death. But my twin brother was removed and placed into care 2 days after my father died. So it's been very harrowing. Yeah. It's been difficult. We weren't reunited as a family until 2010, which was almost 26 years later. So today is fantastic that it's finally taken off, and that we can see the inquiry's work actually starting to happen.
Yeah, look, that's an awful story you've outlined there, Tony. But what do you hope that this inquiry achieves for you?
We want this inquiry to hopefully show that someone's responsible, that there is some liability, with the pharmaceutical companies and the government. So, yeah, that's our hope, that we get the answers from this so that we can move forward.
Right. So you want individuals held to account. You don't just want compensation. It's people being held to account.
My father's death was recorded falsely in history. I think that's the first thing I want put right, is that his death wasn't an accident. Yes, if it's possible, I'd like people held to account. I believe my father was killed. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know. And eventually, yes, I believe that these victims and their families deserve compensation for what's been done to them. I mean, you're going to hear some absolutely harrowing stories over the next few months and into next year. And I think the general public will be shocked at what they're going to hear and how these people have been treated and stigmatised.
Yeah, and I mean, is it obviously the fact that it happened is appalling? Do you also say there's been a cover-up, that this was there was an attempt to cover this up?
I think the initial knowledge of the infections is certainly a cover-up, but the cover-up goes much deeper than that. It's subsequent governments, right from when this scandal broke and the HIV litigation, right through to present day, and it's actually still happening today. Again, we've had a mediocre scheme or an update of a scheme which we don't really know much details about today. I think it's disgraceful.
No, well, that's a great shame. We have clearly lost the sound with Tony there, but we certainly got the gist of that appalling story that he outlined, and that inquiry, as he indicated there, set to last several months.